Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are in my garden and I thought that I will show you how the garden is looking at the moment. We are now in the last week of February. I haven't done a proper garden tour in a couple of months. There wasn't really much going on over December and January really, but now we are slowly approaching spring, hence the lovely crocuses and other spring bulbs that are popping up. There is a few other plants that started to bloom, so I thought I'm going to use the window of no rain, and actually all of a sudden it became quite nice and warm. We'll see how long that will last, but let's be positive. I'm gonna use the situation and give you a tour of the garden at the moment, and we'll see how things are doing right now. Those three planters are my spring bulbs planters. So I have crocuses, muscari, hyacinths, daffodils. I think that's it in all of those three planters, and the crocuses are looking really nice right now. I think it's the first day that they actually opened because we didn't have enough sunshine for them to open their heads since they popped up. And as you know, or if you don't, this is how crocuses operate. If they are fully grown but there is no sunshine, the heads will not open, so they just stay closed. And in here we can see that some muscaris have popped up, hyacinths are coming up, and there will be daffodils in there as well. And it's the same in this one, maybe minus the muscari, although there might be some as well. So maybe starting from the beginning back to the decking, we have to the left side we have the trees. All of the trees except for the olive have been pruned. My husband did that in January, I believe. So he pruned all of the fruit trees that we have. In here we have a couple of apple trees. In this border, the first one is here, that's James Grief, and the tallest one, that's Gala. And we also have 3 pear trees in here. The one at the end in this border here, it's either Conference or Concord. I can't remember which one is which one. In the middle, the red one, the red stems, it's that's an Acer shrub. It is very beautiful. You can see that in different angles it gives different colors of the branches and stems. Over here to the left side we have some more crocuses, the big headed ones in full bloom. These shrubs in here, that's lingonberry. And at the back, these were the snowdrops, but they've finished already. The snowdrops came and went really without having their time to shine because it was raining a lot. We can see that the new shoots are popping up from the Bronera. This is Jack Frost. I still need to tidy up this this bed. Basically, the whole garden needs a little bit of TLC. Here I have quite big erigeron that probably needs trimming, and also some leftover snapdragons. I am just learning that snapdragons are either perennial or biennial. I'm not sure. I would always grow snapdragons and put them in both borders. For some reason, this last season, at the end of the season, I didn't pull them out. I treat them as annuals. I didn't pull them out, and to my surprise, they are still alive. I don't know if they will produce flowers again, but I feel like I might probably just clear them out just to make it tidy. Also, there is some daffodils popping up. This one, the first one, is nicely open and in bloom. And actually, when I was coming out to the garden to start filming, I heard and then looked at it and saw the first humongous bumblebee flying into it. I didn't get the camera out on time and it flew away, but that was the first bee of the season that I've seen, which means that the spring is now in the process. This jasmine needs trimming because at the moment it looks really sad and bad. But I know that once it's going to be trimmed, it will pick up. This border here also needs tidying. It's actually embarrassing to show this. It really needs a lot of tidying. Because in here, I'm not really sure even what is what at this point. What is the jasmine, and there was some sort of salvia growing in the corner here as well. But this has gotten too messy. There's also quite a few weeds, as you can see, which needs pulling out. Yeah, I have to trim this little potted hydrangea, but I'm happy to see that it's alive. It survived the winter. And also I need to trim this one. There is a lot of new growth on it, which I am glad to see, but I need to trim the heads and tidy this up. Behind the ivy, you can see some fennel that I have grown. This is quite amazing because this is fennel in that black pot, which also needs trimming, but I sowed it in that pot 3 years ago when I had my first growing season, and it grows really well every year. Just being in this pot, I trim the old stems and new grow every year. I was thinking about maybe moving that fennel to the allotment actually, so that I can put it in the ground directly so that it can develop properly, because I know that in this pot it has very limited growing space for root development. This little rose in here that I need to also tidy up the leaves and trim it to give it a nice fresh start in the spring. But this is a rose that I grew from cuttings from my roses that I have in front of the house. I have initially planted 6 bare root roses that I purchased from David Austin, and they grow really, really nicely there, even though it's northeast side, and the area where they've been planted in the ground, the soil is really poor. It's a clay gravel mess, but those roses are just amazing. They just grow in anything. Again, no affiliation with David Austin, but if you want to treat yourself, I know that they are on the pricey side, but they really do grow well. I took few cuttings from those roses 2 years ago when I was trimming it at the end of the season, and just put them in a pot of soil because I was watching Monty Don do it, and I did that. So it's that one, and the other one is here, and they grew really well. And also I'm thinking about taking those to the allotment and planting them in the ground at the allotment. So yeah, taking cuttings and propagating roses is quite easy, turns out, because I didn't have to do anything with it except for just cutting a branch and putting it in a pot of soil. One more quick mention, kind of from this side in here in front of the shed. At the back, behind the hydrangea, I have 3 pots with azaleas. These were purchased also probably 3 years ago. I remember I got them when I started kind of building this garden, and I got them as very young little shrubs. And initially I had them in front of the house where the roses are now, but after first season I did lift them because they started dying down in there. I think the quality of soil was too bad for azaleas to stay alive in there, and maybe not enough sunshine as well. So I dug them out and put them in the pots, and I thought I will see if they will survive, and I will think what to do with them later. And they kind of stayed in those pots. Again, I'm thinking about moving them to the allotment to give them space. Oh, that's really nice to see that there is some crocuses in this border. I have been tidying this border in my last garden video. I can link it in the screen if you want to see what has been done in here. This is basically the border where I have my verbena as the main show of the garden. It grows really, really well and big in here, and it gives a lot of attraction, but also it's a magnet for pollinators. And in here we have the queen at the moment, the queen of the garden. This is my only and first Camellia shrub called Mary Williams. I got it last year as a little plant in a pot from a garden center and planted it in here, and it has grown twice the size since, and it's looking really, really beautiful. Starting from the decking, but on the right side I have a generous gardener climbing rose in here. I need to trim it properly and tie some of the stems. There is a lot of new growth on it, as I can see, but to be honest, I don't think this is the best place for it. For one thing, it would probably benefit from being directly in the ground instead of being in the pot as for a climbing rose. And this place, this spot right by the gate to the garden, it gets very windy. So when we have very strong winds, and we have those a lot in here, this place here, it is like a corridor, like a tunnel for the wind to mess around, and this rose is getting beaten by the wind quite a lot in here. I would like to move it somewhere else because it's a beautiful rose. But also the petals of the flower heads are very delicate, and as soon as they blossom, they often just fall to the ground immediately. So Considering the high winds that we have in here, this is probably not the best spot for this rose. I just don't know where in the garden I could put it so that it would thrive. Not sure if I have a spot for it at the moment. And this one is actually, I wouldn't want to take it to the allotment. I want to keep it in the garden. Next to it, we have 2 cherry trees, but the first one here, that's a dwarf ornamental tree. It's called Kanzan. It comes with those beautiful yellowish, greenish leaves in the spring and beautiful blossom as well. And this one, the next one to it, is a younger cherry tree, but this is a fruiting one, the one that you can eat the crops. Moving along to my sadly looking flower border, what you can see here starting from the right at the very front is the erigeron. I will probably trim it. I did plan to lift it and divide it and take some of the divided plants to the allotment. I haven't done that with the erigeron just yet, but I have a few big ones. So this one, and the same is at the very end on the other side of this border, and that one here. I could easily take it out and divide it because it's probably, this one is probably the biggest that we currently have in the garden. I also have erigeron in 2 pots in the garden. I need to trim the head of it because right now it looks like this, but there's lots of new growth, as you can see. And the other one is in the kitchen garden there by the fence, so I might just take those 2 to the allotment if I want to. I can decide about it later. Behind the erigeron, this is rose campion in here and some gladiolus that are popping up. I also have some alliums along this border. This first rose, that's Port Sunlight by David Austin. Again, no affiliation. It just seems like I'm obsessed with David Austin roses. This is one of my hellebore that didn't flower this season. I have 2 hellebores in this border. It's this one here and this beauty. This one has flowered nicely, which I'm glad, but I'm also glad to see that there is a sign of life in this one, because I was worried that it has not survived the aphids attack from last year. Last year I had a really severe aphid invasion in my garden, and they specifically attacked roses, dahlias as well, and hellebores. Hellebores were just covered with aphids. It was a real plague, and after cutting it down quite heavily, I thought it may not survive, but I'm glad to see that it has. So that means that it will come back next year with flowers, so that's absolutely fine. Also scattered in this bed, I have several dahlias. For the first time last winter, I didn't lift tubers out of the border after they flowered. Different circumstances of this. Don't want to bore you with that story, but I left dahlias in this border, and I really hope that they will survive. There is Rudbeckia in the middle here. It will be supported by this circle, so hopefully it will grow back as well. I need to tidy up this ivy from here because I don't want this ivy to cover the ground of this border. I might just remove this ivy from here altogether. This second rose here is Queen of Sweden by David Austin. There is another dahlia in here growing, and some more alliums and gladiolis. And at the very end, I have a climbing rose. This is the Pilgrim by David Austin. And on this frame, on this trellis, I have clematis. This is Montana. I only planted that last year, spring of last year. So this is a first full year of it growing. I can see that all the way around the stems, it's releasing new shoots. Even here, even like at the end of the stem. Oh, this rose has snapped. Okay, I need to tidy up this rose. This is the last rose that is left untouched just yet from last season. I need to remove all the leaves from last year so that they don't carry any diseases, and trim it and tie it up, train it basically onto this arch. Oh, I didn't realize that it has snapped. That's random. But yeah, we do have very severe winds in here, so it was probably that. There's some black spot on it. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, so there's still things to do for me, but yeah, this is pretty much it. This is how the garden is looking at the very end of February. There is a lot of things that starting shooting up. I've noticed that this agapanthus is shooting up. I need to clean the old stems and remove some of the weeds. There is nice new growth on this erigeron, but this is a different variety. Azure Fairy. So you can see on the label that it has those bigger daisy, almost like flowers. Well, erigeron does have daisy-like flowers, but tiny ones. And this pot also holds another agapanthus, but there is no sign of new shoots, at least not yet. But I hope it's alive. This one hasn't blossomed last year. This one has. I think I skipped this one when I was going through this border with trees, but this shrub in the middle, that's blueberry. And as you can see, it has many, many flower buds, and there will be a lot of fruit on it. Just a quick look on the kitchen garden area. This is this looks like a war zone right now. The raised beds are not finished yet. I left it as I did after the last session of clearing out the roots of the raspberries on that side. So I still need to do the middle section here on the right side, and then after I shift the soil, I will have to just check if there is any roots on this side. For those of you who are on my channel for the first time and don't know what I'm talking about right now, I made a rookie mistake of planting raspberry canes in this gap between the fence and my raised bed exactly a year ago. I did that in February of last year. The raspberries grew really well, loved the environment to the point that they set out the roots underneath my raised bed, which the bottom of it was covered by a thick membrane that didn't stop the roots of the raspberries to puncture through it and start popping up alongside of this raised bed. After the growing season has finished, I started digging out those canes that started popping up in this bed. Turns out that there was a whole network of roots all the way on this side, very strong, thick roots. So I started digging the whole bed through, including under the membrane, because the roots were stuck to the membrane, under the membrane, punctured the membrane, and it's just a mess. So that's why it looks as it does. I still need to finish this off, but stay with me, I will do it. I just didn't have a chance really because the volume of rain, it has rained non-stop. It feels like when the weather improves and I will have enough time to come out here, because it's a big project. I need a few hours for each session. I will probably not do the whole thing in one go because that's too much physical. The physical aspect of it is just too much. But I need few hours to do this one side, because not only I have to just shift this whole soil, but I need to go through it basically like a sieve and remove the raspberry roots from it. It takes a long time to do it. So I need a wider window with a better weather, meaning at least no rain. I'm not greedy for the sunshine, although it would be nice for it to stay, but yeah. So this is why it looks like this. Also, if you have seen, and by the way, I have a whole video about like the whole story of the raspberries. I can also link it on the screen if you're curious and want to see for your own knowledge of what not to do with raspberries. Learn from my mistakes. I can link it up and you can go and check it out. And on the other note, if you have seen my last video about a compost situation that I came across, to say it diplomatically, at my allotment, and then fixing it with this manure and that multi-purpose compost, I went and purchased more while it's still on offer. Well, it was, at least when I went to get it, because it's a very good quality. So the idea is that once I'm done with clearing this raised bed from raspberry roots, I will mulch it with the well-rotted horse manure. So that means that even if I do it, I don't know, in April, I can still start planting stuff directly into my raised beds, because it's a very good quality and well-rotted horse manure, so no worries about that. And then this compost I will use for starting my seeds. I usually start my seeds from March onwards. I don't rush with it because I don't really see much point in that. I also have very limited space, very limited growing space in my garden. Well, now I will have the allotment space, but it's not ready yet. Also, if you want to check out my allotment, I have a whole dedicated playlist with the videos just for the allotment. So if you prefer to watch that content or just want to watch it in one go, you're very welcome to just click on the playlist dedicated to the allotments, and you can see the whole story of me building the allotment from scratch. In here I have the onions in modules. I probably could take them out of the greenhouse and just put them on the floor here on the ground, but those onions will go hopefully as soon as possible to the allotment. I have some beds already prepared for them, so I can move it and have this space, the shelves for the seeds that I'm hoping to start in the next couple of weeks. So this is the situation with the kitchen garden at the moment. Random 2 arches leaning on my greenhouse. Those arches were in the raised beds. Here, I needed to take them out in order to destroy, to clear out the raspberry roots. This planter holds Welsh onions that are growing here, sown from seed last year. The Welsh onions will most likely go to the allotment where I can plant it in the ground. And in this little pot in the corner here, I have some peonies growing. There's some bulbs of peonies. I've had them in there for 2 seasons. Hopefully it will grow well this year as well. So this is my February garden update. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will try to keep up the monthly garden updates as well as the allotment progress. So I hope to see you in the next video. If you liked it, please leave me a thumbs up. Maybe drop me a comment in the comment section. Let me know what is growing at the moment in your gardens, or if you have an allotment, how things are going. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.